You are live. The stage is yours.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julius. I'm the Strategic Partnerships Director for Spirit of the Game Foundation and the Eastern Europe Coordinator for impact in Eastern Europe and the state of impact in Eastern Europe. I felt that we needed to address some topics that I have been personally deep diving into in the last 2-3 months while trying to get as much potential out of the full structure of Spirit of the Game and the need that people have on the ground. Before this, I mentioned I don't have a presentation, but actually I had a thought that I could present a business that fully touches base on everything that we would actually see as an impactful, social, enhancing operation driven by the platforms that we as Spirit of the Game have brought together. And I think it's this one. So if you can give me 1 second to open it, I'll give you a short recap. If you've been online in this week, you've had this fat cycle business, you've heard about it a bit, I detailed it a bit, but I never really spoke about what we are addressing and what we are actually doing and the reasons we are doing it. And how does this fit into everything that we see, or I see personally, and I hope is we see, as the state of impact in Europe. Wow, I even put music in this, imagine. So can I stop the music? Opa. Okay. I'm just gonna do this, okay? It opened on the same screen that I'm seeing everybody, so I'm gonna run with it like this. So this is like a brief presentation that I did for Fat Cycle and some of the key areas that I felt that we are addressing for the business. And it went to the last slide, imagine. Let's go to the first. Are you also hearing the music? Is that coming in? Oh, thank you, God. It's only on my side. Perfect.
Me, no music, absolutely at all.
I have music in this presentation.
Um,
So imagine that we are about 3 months back, a textile engineer came and wanted me to help him design and achieve the things that he wanted to for himself and he dreamed about while he was in university. He afterwards went for a master's in business, and his university is a textile engineer, and he's now finishing his master's, and he wanted his master's project to actually be implemented on the European Union funding and to start the first recycling centers inside Romania in 2 years. So I had a target like this. The man gave me specific targets on how we can achieve things, and he knew the problem and he had the solution of how to solve that problem. So we created a value proposition, and imagine that when I designed this, I thought into, okay, what do I need from this business? Because normally this goes, you all know the bins for clothing that are put next to every corner in the cities where you can go and you put the clothing for donation. I think Humanitas works those, Red Cross works those, a lot of NGOs across Europe. Now, those aren't really efficient. We, after doing some bit of research in the cities here, I found that municipal trash cans were about 60% filled with textiles. meaning people were actually throwing clothing out, not even thinking that they can deposit them or recycling them. Second thing is, behind the actual secondhand stores, this went to about 90%. So 90% of the trash that the secondhand stores were outputting is their own clothing that they can no longer sell. And that this doesn't get recycled. Now, when we noticed this, we said, okay, this we have to take care of. So our first initiative was to, okay, how do we get the raw materials? Because his plan was to actually take the textiles and make them into industrial grade insulation for buildings. He's in Italy, he's in Milano, he's working this there. And he saw that in that area in Italy, they are actually using this sort of textile recycled material inside insulation. So he said, I can produce this in Romania and sell it in Italy. This was his business model. But we had to expand because the cost of setting up bins in every city and competing with Humanitas and competing with the Red Cross was very high. You have to buy those, you have to have a team to put them in the corners, you have to make a collection, drop off, then you have a full-on logistics of how to get them to the recycling center. It takes a lot. So I came up with the solution that, look, let's put a second-hand store. We have the second-hand store where people bring their clothing in, they sell it. Then, because we want to have control over the products that we put in the store, let's have an app that this app will allow a customer to come in the store, scan a code on a piece of clothing, and directly connect to the person selling it, no matter where they are in the city, at home. So in this way, we offered a way for a client to come in the store, they scan the QR code, and they directly connect to somebody selling it, saying, hi, you want 10 euros for this, I will give you 8 euros, do you want to sell it? There's a negotiation taking place. It's instant over the blockchain. And with this, we actually took care of the social impact, and we are offering a cash flow to people. We took into account another aspect where our end game is to recycle textiles. It's not to sell clothing. Although it's a good income generator and a good cash flow model, our direct goal is to have the materials to put in place for producing new clothing and industrial grade insulation. So in all of this, we said for €1 a kilogram, you can bring in clothing that you can no longer sell. They cannot be brought in the store. And we will give you €1 per kilogram, and we will take care of that clothing. Please don't throw it in the trash. Now, this comes at benefit to two sides of the society. One is the municipality, because 60% of their trash in the waste facility, in the dump, the garbage dump, is textiles, and this accounts for a lot of tons sent to the trash dump in textiles. And then it's highly beneficial for us because we don't need to go around houses collecting textiles from people. We don't have to have logistics, infrastructure, and collection system for separate textile use. They come to the store, they drop it off at the store, they get their €1 per kilogram, everything is happy. Of course, this also has a back end where we can wash the clothing, see if they are available for sale, etc., etc. In all of this, actually, Trent came in with the idea, hey, put a washing facility there with washing machines, and they can get some tokenization, and they can do free washing. So you are reducing the environmental impact and the carbon footprint of actual people that are doing their washing at home, and you are doing it in a safer, better, environmentally free option at this, taking into account that our imagination in how this would be would actually look like a medium-sized Lidl or Auchan. I don't know what you have, Simonetta, in Italy, these supermarkets. I've been to Rome, but I don't remember
We
what.
have a Carrefour, we have almost everything.
Medium-sized Carrefour, exactly. A medium-sized Carrefour. It has to be like a supermarket where in the back people come, put clothing, there's the washing facility, there's like an area where you can wash your clothing. There's another part where there are these hanger things you put up the clothing for display, you make your own QR codes as an individual, and you take it out in front for display. And there you'll just leave it for the customers where everything is on the app. For the app, we went to WeDo, to Indiana. And I told her, can WeDo as an app do this? I made this question. She said, yeah, our portfolio feature is perfect for this. It can generate QR codes over everything. It can actually make over the blockchain very efficient management of that portfolio, and it allows video calls, chat, any kind of communication between the customer in the store and the customer that is at home and put up the clothing. So then we said, fine. And she said, I'm going to even put some of my money in on this at the next financial quarter. So she decided on actually investing. Afterwards, it went to, because they wanted to design the social impact platform for WeDo, they decided to do a joint venture with FatCycle and extend it as their social platform so they can get even more funding in. Now, this is a model that came from a freshly graduate engineer in textiles, went through the structure of spirit of the game, become FatCycle as recycling fads or trends. This is the actual meaning of the business. And it got to the level where everybody just looks at it and sees that, wow, this also led to our impactful certification. And it went, let's go, I got stuck on one slide. So I actually talked about this. The mission is to revolutionize the clothing industry. So imagine that you have a closed circle on all of the clothing. You are not only dealing like H&M, Adidas, Nike are dealing with their branded clothing. They are taking it, putting it in, maybe they have some traceability. They have no traceability on where sourcing of material happens or production, age group. They have high costs in logistics and distribution of their clothing. We are doing this internally in the community. You have a large processing facility. I went here to the municipality in Hațeg, in Deva, in Hunedoara. There are 4 cities, one next to another. The 4th is Calan. And everybody agreed that this would actually account for a lot of benefit with one factor, that it reduces the cost of waste at the dump. They pay hundreds of thousands of euros each year for waste at the waste dump because of textiles. This is an issue. But I worked waste management and I also had this like inside knowledge and I knew how to go with them. So I knew how to approach them. Then, hey, I can reduce your cost at the dump if we just let us do the textiles, and we do a joint partnership in funding where the municipality and FatCycle open the actual recycling and production facility with European funding. And this accounted for Anatoly's first initiative of funding this through the European Climate Fund. And we said, okay, so this actually makes us a leader in sustainable clothing. Now, most of the clothing that you see right now accounts for the plastics in the ocean. If you did not know that, this is the reality. Plastics in the environment is from clothing. Microplastics is from clothing. Bottles degrade very slowly. Clothing, on the other hand, is predisposed to fill everything with plastic. So because we have synthetic materials, quality materials, but synthetic materials, we are polluting the environment. Nobody's taking care. These are actual pictures. These are actual pictures. The 2 in the middle are, so this one here in the corner is a real picture. This one here is a real picture. These are AI generated. I asked the AI, how does waste recycling, textile waste recycling or textile waste mismanagement look like? I think I prompted it like that. It came up with this. Clothing in a landfill all over the place. So right now, this is the actual 90% of the clothing ends up here in these 2 squares, where it's either in the trash dump or it's either in the ocean. This is the loop that all of the fashion industry has. And there's a thing called fast fashion, if you haven't heard about it yet. Fast fashion accounts for large numbers of clothing produced. It's what you see in H&M, it's what you see in Pepco stores, it's what you see in all of these individual, I think Kaufland, Lidl has their own direct line of clothing that they produce. So this is fast fashion. Huge numbers of the same product going wherever they go. They get sold, nobody knows where they end up. And the materials aren't good. So they're not biodegradable, they are filled with plastics. So this is the current model. We said, let's improve everything. And this is, this I found on the internet with the circular fashion and how we can close the loop to actually prove that you can have one entity, meaning Fat Cycle, that takes care of all of this. You don't have to have different stakeholders that take care of all of this. The actual stakeholders are the people. Now, the thing is that the greatest challenge for municipalities and for anybody wanting to take care of textile waste is humans. Humans have no incentive of actually recycling their textiles. They are lazy to go and put it at the corner. They are lazy to dispose in it in a proper way, mostly and everywhere. And I think even Germany or high recycling states have this issue. I know they do great on plastics, but I have not seen incentives for clothing recycling in Germany. I saw conscious consumers that actually donate, and that actually accounts for Eastern Europe's secondhand stores, which sell product for 2 euros, 3 euros, 4, 5 euros, 10 euros, and they are best quality products. 8 euros, 5 to 8 euro is like the normal price here with the tag on it. If it doesn't have the tag on it, it's down to 4 euros or 3. But with 5 to 8 euros, you get products that have tag on it. So you get like trousers that have tag, you have shirts that have tags on it that costed 100 euros out of the line, and they come like that. And these get wasted. And they are coming from North Europe and I think Central Europe, mostly like this. And Anatoly said in Italy that it's a very high, he knows the market there, so he did some research and he can get a lot of tonnage of clothing sent to Eastern Europe or Georgia. We thought about Georgia because Georgia and Batumi itself also has a culture of thrift shops, secondhand stores. And while taking into account this, they asked me, so basically everybody I talked to, they said, why do you want to start it in Eastern Europe? I said, this is where it's needed. It can start here and it can evolve better anywhere else, because in Eastern Europe, you have this culture of people going into secondhand stores. But currently, nobody offered them the advantage of creating a profit loop and cash flow from the things they don't need. They can buy very cheap things in secondhand stores, and all of it goes in the waste dump. It's detrimental for every side of society. And actually, secondhand stores are doing worse and more damage by existing in this way than non-existing at all. Also, it creates a high loop of buying from the people, because people come in, they buy something of 3 euros, they wear it 1, 2 weeks, they throw it away, they go in the secondhand store, they buy it again. They don't do the same with new clothing because it costed more, not because they didn't get bored with it. I take myself into account here. It's not that I didn't get bored with it. I don't want to wear it. I go down, I buy another pair of trousers. I do this. I have nowhere to dispose of it. So the financial model, all of it is there where you have less expense on clothing. But when you actually apply this financial model and you spread it to the people and say, look, you can make cash flow in the community in this way. You are also having an incentive to recycle the textiles just to bring them to us. We even came up with a model where we have couriers on bikes, pick it up from your doorstep. If you're lazy enough not to come into the store, we can pick it up for you in an environmentally friendly way. So we send a bicycle courier to your place, you give them the bag of clothing, it's done. But then you don't have any like expectation on finance and everything of the sort, like somebody's gonna take off everything. You're gonna get less profit. If your clothing are okay and they are quality, you're still gonna get some profit. And that is like the app and the blockchain and the portfolio management that provides full transparency in the process. But we took care of every aspect possible, down to the recycling facility. Detailed a lot about this problem. It's a huge problem Textile waste is a huge, huge problem. It's one of textiles are the second largest polluter. Only oil is above that. So imagine this: that not transport, not flights, textiles are the second largest producer of waste and pollution. This is real. And I knew it was bad, but when I actually saw that all of the scientific proof leads it to actually being, and they say oil because they don't want to say it's the first. Because if you actually put it up as textiles are the worst things for the planet, then you're going to have a lot of high-end branding for gas and oil. Everybody accepted it's bad. But for textiles, not really a lot of people accepted that the way that textiles are produced is detrimental for our society. The way that textiles are sold is detrimental to our society. The way that textiles are actually managed is detrimental to our society because it creates a loop of poverty, scarcity, lack, competition, disadvantage. All of these things coming from the brands, high prices. You spend a lot of money on clothing that aren't really qualitative. So what we said, we have all this resource and material. We are using it properly. Like I said, real images. These are actual beaches full of clothing. So yeah. There's a huge move on textiles. Sales are going through the roof because of fast fashion. It started in the 2000s. So that's when actual fast fashion, this many pieces. No more going to the tailor to get your suit. You get a suit off the rack. You get bored of it. It's the price went down, so the sale went up a lot. And this created availability on every front. And it created waste in a way that nobody has actually comprehended until now. They never really calculated this. So market is there. It's 142 billion in sustainable fashion. It's a huge market. So this fat cycle is going to be what you call it in the US, a unicorn. I think it's called that. It's going to be a unicorn in 2 years, I'm sure. It's going to go above $1 billion in very short time. And everybody's jumping in on this. The thing is, it's scalable. What we actually went and did, we tested our theory and said, okay, is there anybody that actually wants to be a part of this? And while I was looking for rent on a place, I found a 350 square meter for rent. I said, okay, this is like perfect. It's exactly the size of a small to medium Carrefour. And it had 2 sliding door entrances. In the picture, it was empty. I called the owner. I told him I want to see the place. I have some business that I want to put there. And he tells me, yeah, it's a second-hand shop. I said, what do you mean it's a second-hand shop? He says, I have a 350 square meter second-hand shop that I want to get rid of. And he offered to give us all of the clothing in the shop, all of the products that he have. I estimated about 50 to 60,000 euros minimum in product that he has in the shop. He said, take it all, just give me the rent. I went to another shop. I said, would you be interested? I want to get rid of, because people are making very low income and they are uncomfortable hiring somebody and trusting somebody. They said they have to be family businesses, especially in Romania. So when you offer them this over the blockchain, everybody's thrilled. We get traceability. We know where the product is going. We know who's buying. We know who's selling. That's amazing. You have the financial portfolio and the model to apply it. Businesses and second-hand shops want to franchise this. Also, municipalities want to promote it as a recycling scheme. When I went to the Hatseg municipality, that's the actual presentation that you can see in the back. Actually, let's skip to that. So maybe some of you are interested. There's a website also. It's fatcycle.com. So I went to the Hatseg municipality. Click. Wait for it to load. And I told them this. What are we offering as benefit? So first benefit is economic growth. You are actually doing I took this from the point of view of mayoral candidates. Not the mayors that are now, because in 1 year we have elections here. I took him from the point of view of candidates that want to go for mayor. And I said, okay, you want your elections to be good, what do you need? We first envisioned developing an app that shows their impact, using Mighty Networks for this, and actually creating a Mighty Network app for each one community, and they can engage the presidential election. So basically we would use Mighty Networks as a platform for the mayoral election, and we would manage this it's easy like that. It takes 3 people, I can charge them 100,000 in their campaign, and I can make a lot of money. But I'm preparing for the campaign because a lot of them said yes. We would really like to do this. They are spending a lot of money campaigning. The estimation cost in Romania for 50,000 people campaign is around 250,000 euros in the campaign for one candidate. So they are spending €250,000 in the campaign for mayor election, not for anything else. And then I said, yeah, I want a piece of that pie. At least 50,000 I can charge them for running their digital campaign fully. So I said, let's prepare it. You need to prepare this. You need to prove to your community that you have been doing something. Be the first one that applies this model in your community. Offer the people economic growth. Make them understand that by going with you as a mayor, and afterwards we take care of our campaign, you are actually doing good for the community. You have a lot of revenue and presence. You have a sustainable procurement of materials because you are sourcing the materials 10 kilometers, producing new materials another 10 kilometers. On top of this, this hemp producing industry came to us, knocked at our door, and said that we are using hemp for carbon credits. And this is Nicolas that came from South America, I think he's. Nancy, you remember Nicolas, he was with us a couple of times, and he said, I have this model for carbon credits, they are growing this, I want to apply it, I presented it. He said, yeah, you want to combine your recycled textiles with hemp, I can get you carbon credits. So I said, okay, this is another cash flow and financial benefit that you can actually use anywhere. You can start growing hemp, he provides the carbon credits, and everybody gets money again. And we're helping the oil industry. Or we are selling the carbon credits to H&M and Nike. This is the first time I thought about it. Let's sell the carbon credits to H&M and Nike, and let's source everything within a radius of 20 kilometers. Environmental conservation goes there. Hatzeg is a UNESCO heritage natural park. So they have to have pristine environmental conservation. They have an issue with waste, clothing, improper disposal of waste in their city. So they are looking at losing their UNESCO heritage certification of natural park if they don't take care of it. So all the incentive was there. So basically, I sent this to them. They arranged for a meeting. This was like my trial. I wanted to see how municipalities are reacting to this and how fast it would catch. Everybody wants it because they know it makes a lot of benefit and it reduces their waste cost as a city. So this is also only for small scale. Imagine implementing this at a large scale in cities like Rome, where I've been 10 years ago in Rome. I don't think things changed much there. I'm thinking because this is one, I've been in Budapest as well, same thing. I've been in Bucharest. I've been not a lot of capitals. I think these are all the capitals I've been in. In Georgia, I've only been in Batumi, so I haven't been in their capital. But seeing large cities and seeing how they operate, there's a lot of waste there. Nobody's really recycling properly, especially clothing. This is an issue. And nobody's offering financial incentives. The secondhand stores don't really care after the product goes out of their store, how to take care of it. So this is our business model. And it was built fully with how we can take a model from Eastern Europe and make it successful all over the world by actually having this as the need in Eastern Europe. And actually the primary financial offering and community financial development in Eastern Europe. I said I won't have kids on this conference this year, but there's no way I can avoid it. Give me questions. I need your feedback and I need your questions in all of this. I want to do a brainstorm on Fat Cycle and everything that we can work on together in this.
Julius, I think that you just introduced us a big something
Ha.
that, yeah, exactly. I mean, it was so big and you gave us so many information that probably you put together in a lot of time that we need to digest everything.
Yeah, let me show you.
But I will suggest a specific specific something event or brainstorming only for this big project.
So this is the documents I wrote on Fat Cycle.
Exactly. This is what I mean, knowing you and understanding how big recycling, how big the textile world is. So I've been working in the textile field for 6 years in my life. Not for clothing, but textile for house, like carpets, mats, wall-to-wall carpets. In a company who was producing these kind of things, starting from the yarn and to do all the supply chain. So I know what you mean when you were talking about recycling. I've been in touch with an Italian company who was using the leftover of the blue jeans production to create other kind of things like bags or object for the house, like something where you can use to put things inside, holders, you know?
Okay.
So, and I'm talking about more than 10 years ago. 10 years ago, there were no such a huge, deep feeling
and understanding of how this process goes.
Exactly, in recycling. Very good friend of mine who owns a company that still produces carpets for like industrial places, or the thin carpets you can find in the exhibition centers.
Yes.
Yeah, floor covering.
Yeah.
They just open up a new line of production using recycled carpets for that.
So they're recycling the carpets. Thank you for the
They
idea.
are recycling
Okay.
the carpets they use as a floor covering to produce other floor coverings and they are using those floor coverings new regenerated in the exhibition centers. So it's a big, interesting business, but it's a huge one. So what you've done, to me, it's brilliant. It's amazing. And when you were describing, I was just before you were mentioning secondhand places, I was thinking about secondhand places.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that we need to go deeper and face everything what you have done, but with a specific section and I'm not saying event, but meeting with people. Absolutely. But sorry, I have to shut my mouth.
I actually realized at one point that this is gonna be a huge financial model for Spirit of the Game, because this I realized today while I was talking with this man at MasterChef. We got invited with this. I'm promoting him a bit here, but let's see him. So we got invited to the Business MasterChef program as participants. There's one more spot available. These are the organizers. They're doing it nicely. I'm thinking of participating.
MasterChef, the cookie show?
They made like that only for businesses and for startups.
Oh, okay.
You get it? Okay, so these are the participants. There's a last spot available. I had a meeting today. They said apply. I have applied a bit, not fully, but I want to see their feedback on I already have it, but I want official things from them. Anyway, so I said, okay, this is my first step. And the second one, let me just, I want to show you where this, how the secondhand shops look in Romania, because that, I think that's quite important for you to understand how my inspiration came for this. Yes. This is how secondhand shops look in Romania. Large storefront, 250 square meters, 200 square meters, minimum 100. This is here in Hunedoara. These are huge. These are like your luxury brand stuff in the US, only they are secondhand stores. And imagine that rent is not cheap because the store that we found, so this is a corner one, goes from here all the way to this side. And this is the actual store that I found that in the pictures was empty, and the man has 17 years in secondhand industry. And he wants to get out of it because it made his wife very tired and she can't take it anymore. Like I said, these are the trash bins that I was talking. A lot of those. This is like a small example. I've been looking around town, all of the trash bins are like this, clothing in every trash bin. This is an issue. This is how his store, so his store is not tidy. And he's still making around 700 euros a day in cash flow. So he's still making, in the way that it looks now, he's making, and I went there and you could not distinguish one article from another, very hard to browse to, no possibility to actually find a good thing. So there was no proper management of the store, and it's making 800 a day. With minimum management, it goes above 1,000. With proper management and fully utilizing 350 square meters, you can imagine how that can go. With people bringing in their own stuff, coming in to sell their own stuff, getting bored of it, coming in, they get credits, they can take we can create a full cash flow in this way. And where's the front? He even sells scooters in the store. So I took it to the step where you can actually bring in anything that you can have in the house, not throw it, don't throw it, bring it for sale. Clothing are the ones that are personal. You want to try it on, that's the reason we offer the washing facilities. We want to make sure everything is clean, sanitized, nicely put up there. So you're basically buying things to the point where they're almost as good as possible next to new, but at a very affordable price, and you have a financial model addressed to it. Look at the storefront. It starts here, goes here. This is the first sliding door, second sliding door. Like I said, 350 square meters of storefront. It's huge. And it's second-hand. You get my point? No proper management, just simple things.
Julius, it's a big business. Absolutely. What you are showing to me, it's the same I can see here in Italy.
So they're doing the same kind of things there in Italy. Yes?
Secondhand stores are just very big, and they are just full of everything, not only clothing, but everything, by the way. So it's impossible to understand what there is inside. To me, it's impossible to buy something because everything is so tight and you cannot distinguish one thing to the other. And if I'm not wrong, I've been in a couple of places, secondhand places also in the USA, but the situation was not better at all.
I know the thrift shops, even in the UK, they are not, everything is on top of each other.
Exactly. But
everything is on top of each other.
This is just saying to me that the business could be so big, so huge. People are just changing clothes, buying other new stuff. And there is a small amount of people who are buying secondhand in the overall, in the total, okay?
Yes.
So it's a brilliant.
But why does my wife not want to buy secondhand clothing? Because she doesn't trust how long it's been there, what kind of washing it has had, where it has been, if it's been she doesn't have the possibility to properly sanitize it in our washing machine. You know, like you can wash it, but what? You wash it 90 degrees, boil it, and then wear it. So there's not that trust that, oh, this is a clean item. There's never that trust. That I know. That
I totally agree with your wife. I'm the same. I'm not
yes.
secondhand stuff because I don't know who was carrying, if they are sanitized. And most of all, because of me, I'm not able to buy every time things are just stick all together.
Okay, because it's chaotic. You have no order in the brain.
No, I don't like to go in the open market for that reason, when everything is just one on top of the other. This is me. I just say, okay, wasting of time, not for me at all. Stop.
For this, I came with the idea that municipalities should put up a huge building where we should have this, and it would be their resource center in the city. But that we can talk about and develop further. If we get some municipalities that we want, I want to touch base on the last part of what I wanted to present in this segment, which is actually the SOTG Tier 1 to Impactful Business certification that I put Fat Cycle through. So I was starting to develop this certification. We've been talking with Trent and some team from the UK for some time now. They didn't really go that deep in certifying us as an impactful organization so we can apply the certification for other companies. I said, let me go deeper. I got this premium AI paid, and I said, yeah, this is my chance. I want to see how I can develop this further by using my intellect and the AI. I got into the flow state a couple of nights, I think last month, and I designed a blueprint. On that blueprint, I ran Fat Cycle. Now imagine that at Fat Cycle, I already had this WHIC. This is why, are you sure, how, what is it, how does it work, are you sure, and can you pull it off? This was given to me. This is something that investors and financing entities will ask. I answered every question. And this was the actual trigger that got me to use the certification blueprint and how to run the certification with Fat Cycle as a startup. Because I wanted to see which, here it is. So I put it in the AI, I loaded the blueprint, I said, okay, let's try this. I made some initial evaluation. It gave me this table. There should be a table at one point here. Dove say. Here we go. It gave me this table where it said Fat Cycle hits the following tiers with the following. So the AI generated this. I did not intervene in any way. I was fully objective. I wanted to see properly according to the SOTG principles where it places everything. And it gets a sustainable development, on environmental impact, on social impact, economic impact, good governance. We applied SDGs, B Corp, ESG. So sustainable development goals, environmental sustainability and governance principles, and B Corp related. I couldn't copy B Corp because they have their own like trademarks and stuff, but I took some elements that B Corp is promoting and don't have trademark on. So it's by actually combining them with SDG and with ESG, I could somehow avoid telling that we are not asking permission of B Corp. So I said they're doing a great thing. We took your model, made it better. Let's say it like this. And we're dealing with impact. So it said during all of this, currently you can actually hit tier 2 because you're just you're looking at 2 countries. So basically so how Spirit of the Game goes in its tiers of impact, it's a progressional matrix where the tier 1 has a transitional phase that takes you to tier 2. Tier 2 certification comes next, and there's a transitional phase with recommendations. And I told it nicely. give me some recommendations. And it said, this is what you have to do to achieve tier 3. So I actually designed a blueprint of evolution for the company. Corporate transparency, cooperation with local governments was, so it gave me the recommendation according, and this is how I actually managed to realize that I had developed a certification process for businesses. By managing to run this business through our blueprint that I designed myself with AI, but still anybody can verify me. I challenge everybody to verify me as much as possible. I would like peer review in this as much as possible. I want verification of what I've done here from anybody that will actually like to do it. I want to see how I did objectively from every point of view. But looking at it, I think I did an amazing job. Like, I think I did quite amazing. This is how I can describe the work that came. That process was done during the night. You know, that flow state of the artists, when they go in the flow state, I went into that, could not sleep, could not eat, could not do anything. In the day, I had to take care of children, so I could only stay awake during the night. So I pulled in a lot of days like this, and my brain was working, and the AI was there perfectly to help me with everything. And it came out. So I congratulated myself at the end of it, said, thank you so much. This is something that I wanted to do for a long time, and I just got to do it now. And I have to say it, I'm extremely proud of myself for actually achieving this. And yes, and I want people to verify me. I want verification, and I want to, I also asked the AI what would be the peak of impact. How you describe it, he said, the peak of spirit of the game impact for certification should be called luminary. I said, I agree. I don't disagree with the AI on this. If I think it's perfect. It actually describes where you are a leader of impact and change and sustainability in your field. This can be applied to companies in every field. It's the target certification. When you are there, that from my point of view, that means that you have achieved the capability of one entity controlling that specific area that interconnects all the elements in that. Meaning this would be in textiles, let's say Fat Cycle operates as a Carrefour. There's a Carrefour everywhere. Maybe there's some Kauflands or Auchans as competitors, but these are large corporations that actually take everything. You don't deplete the community financially, and you don't give them shitty, bad products. You give them best products and give them the opportunity to make money. You source everything. And I've calculated it takes 7 to 10 years time frame. So it's 7 to 10 years before you close the loop fully. When you close the loop fully on this and you have entities established, what happens is you are outputting, so in 2 to 3 years, you can output your own new line of clothing. That means that you are sourcing everything locally. Those clothing you are selling, they are coming back to the store. You're putting out a better line of clothing next year. People are bringing last year's clothing. You're putting like maybe 20, 30 euro difference, this accounting for the financial categories. And they're bringing in the old clothing, taking the new with a 10 euro difference, 20 euro difference. They're not paying 100 euros or something for a full package. You get my point. And after you run this a couple of years, you are basically just taking your old clothes, refurbishing them, putting up new clothes at very affordable prices with tokenization. So the cost of clothing goes down drastically, but the quality goes up amazingly because you can focus your efforts on high-tech materials. We are looking at T-shirts with sensor that trace anything, tell you when you have a heart attack, to analyze the sweat, tell you how much fat you have, tell you your height rate, tell you your condition. It's something that was developed. I took this model from some scientists. I have some links, but anyway, they did a study and they said that humans should be evaluating their vital signs, condition, health, and everything constantly, because a couple of them did this and they reversed 20 years in age. They actually reversed their biological age with 20 years by taking into account responses that people had with food, drinks, everything. They said that some people were actually affected by vegetables worse than they were affected by cake and ice cream. So their body was responding worse to vegetables at the glycemic level than it was to sugars. And then they realized that not everybody functions the same, and we should not categorize, but individualize the research on people. This can only be done through clothing. So the medical factor and the health benefits from having this kind of clothing is huge. And the costs right now are immense. But when you source it locally, in 5 years, you can have this kind of line of clothing affordable in any community. How far I went on this? Simo, you are muted.
Sorry, I said a lot. And you actually reached your hour. You are
Yes.
fine at the end of your segment. So beautiful, amazing job, Julius. Bravo.
Thank you so much.
Bravo.
Let's get to work and make this happen. I know that everybody and anybody wants this, and we are looking right now at investors that are coming in. We are looking at people that are going to generate carbon credits for the African market. Imagine that they are currently having their hemp agriculture in Uzbekistan. And these are guys from the US. There are US companies growing in Uzbekistan. If in agriculture, Africa can have the same model and you start producing hemp there, I actually tried growing hemp in some countries in Africa some time ago, but I gave up because I didn't find serious people in agriculture. But it's highly possible. Now we have the carbon credit model, we have the financial model, we have the textile model. It can all be done anywhere on the planet. It's made scalable for anywhere on the planet. So I think, Manu, your project is agriculture? Hi.
You are muted.
Yeah.
So I feel that this ties into everything and it provides the actual financial and community benefits that everybody was looking for, that I was looking for here, myself in Romania, to actually see how this can happen. But it has to apply to everywhere the same, because I'm getting the same feedback from all the regions. Yeah, we would love to actually not waste things and take materials and resources into account. Hello, thank you, humanity.
Yeah, we can certainly, you know, it's key, it's important. We can explore it with some research in Africa and, you know, the African team to see their priorities and their needs. So we have members of the Africa team, Olive and other Africans that can share their thoughts on this. How important is it for Africa at this moment compared to other issues that I cannot speak to? I know agriculture is a key thing. And I've had half of them, you know, share their thoughts on that. So Africa is not responding, Julius.
It's all right, don't worry. Let's end the segment
Continue.
and
Okay,
We
let's
continue.
switch.
persist.